Good morning, Hank. It's Monday. It's Esther Day. Every August 3rd since 2010, our community has celebrated Esther Day in memory of Esther Earl, a longtime nerdfighter who wished for a holiday when people would tell their friends and family, "I love you," a kind of Valentine's Day for non-romantic forms of love. This year is especially strange because Esther has been gone for almost 16 years now, and she was only here for 16 years, and it is weird to think that so much of my life has passed without such an important person in it. Esther would be in her 30s now. She might have kids of her own. It is strange to think of all that does not happen to the people we love who've died. In some ways, grief over early death eases with time, but in other ways, for me at least, it intensifies because you learn more about what they missed. I remember at my wedding thinking about my friend who died in high school and how unfair that she will never have a day like this one, where so many people who love you gather together to orient their love in one direction. Same thing when my kids were born, or sometimes when I'm just walking in the woods one morning or watching the sunset one evening. How unfair that I get this and she doesn't. Of course, of the 120 billion people who've ever lived, almost all of them aren't here with us. I'm reminded of something another friend who left us too soon, Amy Krauss Rosenthal, wrote. If one is generously contracted 80 years, that amounts to 29,220 days on Earth. Playing that out, how many more times then, really, do I get to look at a tree? 12,395? There has to be an exact number. Let's just say it is 12,395. Absolutely, that is a lot, but it is not infinite, and anything less than infinite seems too measly a number and is not satisfactory. Also, I would like to stare at my kids a few million more times. I could stare at them a few million more times easy. God, I miss Amy. God, I wish she could still stare at her kids. How can she be dead? How can she be denied this sunset? It's just so unfair. I still haven't reconciled myself to the fundamental injustice of it all. I remember being a little kid and saying, it just isn't fair, and my parents saying, well, life isn't fair. And I understand that in the abstract, but I don't in the trenches of day-to-day life. I just can't reconcile myself to the fact that my friend Henry almost died of TB and will always live with the scars of it. I can't reconcile myself to the death of Esther or Amy or the kids I met in the hospital over half my life ago. I understand that around half of all people who ever lived didn't live to see the age of 10. I understand that death is not just natural, but universal. But understanding and accepting are different. Years ago, an interviewer, a very famous one, asked me why I write so much about loss and grief. I answered a little defensively, something along the lines of, well, it's a big deal, Terry. But I have written so much about loss and grief because learning to live with loss has been the biggest challenge I've faced. And I think it's the biggest challenge many of us face. We are creatures who can conceive of the infinite, who nonetheless live bound by the finite. That's a very strange place to be, and one worth exploring. And yet, it is also true that love is stronger than death. That's one of my grounds of being. Love survives death. The love Amy and Esther and so many others poured into the world is still with the world. I feel it within me. They can't see this sunset. In time, I also won't be able to see sunsets, but others will. And hopefully the love I tried to share with them will still be with them. And in that way, our love for each other will survive as long as we do. P.S. I hope today to celebrate Esther Day, you'll join Sarah and me and lots of other folks for an Esther Day party hosted by her family. More info in the doobly-doo. And I hope you'll overcome the social awkwardness of saying I love you to let some folks in your life know that you love them. Hank, I love you. I'll see you on Friday.